I'm going to call this meeting to order. Roll call.
McKnight,
Here.
Myers,
Here.
Roja,
Here.
Vogel,
Here.
Kinder.
Here. Pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Public comment on agenda items?
None.
Okay. Notice of executive session meeting?
There was an executive session held at 5:30 today, July 5th, 2023, to discuss real estate and personnel.
Approval of minutes, June
Motion.
20th.
Second?
Discussion? Roll call?
McKnight,
Aye.
Myers,
Aye.
Roja,
Aye.
Vogel,
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye. Communications? Okay. Manager.
Nothing to report at the moment on EMS. As far as right to knows, 56 right to know requests. We are up to no change since the last meeting as far as costing out. For park Wi-Fi, we're still waiting to hear on the start date from Armstrong, but they are also evaluating if they are able to incorporate Wi-Fi into other city parks. So April is actually working with Armstrong on that. ABC updates, we have advertised for the Civil Service Board. There is one vacancy, and then also for
Code Appeals.
Code Appeals Board. So we are waiting for those. I believe July 14th is the closing date on those applications.
Council subcommittee reports, housing and redevelopment. I think that we had our subcommittee meeting and we talked a little bit about the rental market inspection program, that the email should be going out, right? And that is this week they're going out, or? That's a question, sorry.
This is for registration.
To register.
Gary
Yes,
is
to
still
register the
reviewing the comments from the solicitor on some of the rental documents.
Sure.
But they should be going out within the week and a half.
Right. And that's all I have tonight. There we go. Community engagement?
We had a meeting. On a side note with the meeting, I did reach out to Chamber of Commerce about the career day, and she's going to get back. Karen's going to get back with anybody who she thought we might have missed.
Okay, great. And I did send the flyer to the chamber, so they're going to push it out on their social media.
Okay.
And we'll write a blurb for their August newsletter. That will go out.
Good.
Sorry. I'll follow up with you with other, like the State Workforce Development Board has some opportunities around apprenticeships that we should probably plug to.
What is that?
The PA Workforce Development Board, they have a call for proposals for their workshop, looking for registered apprenticeship programs. And it would be good to connect them, I think, with some of the folks that are going to be at the employer. So. Anything else come out of our meeting? Tomorrow there's a concert in the Diamond, and Saturday is second Saturday. Hoping we can have a presence there. Haven't heard from anyone who can help, but
Jamie, want to?
I think when you were going to help with them, so I'll get information to you. And we'll be there soliciting input for the housing plan and sharing some city info and city programs.
I will be out of town, just saying on Saturday.
Right.
Is that all?
I think so. Everything else?
That's pretty much it.
I didn't cover anything.
Right on. Finance?
Kristen, do you have anything?
Well, you have your letters written.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And one has been sent, I think, because I heard back from Brad. So,
Yeah, they all
okay.
did, yeah.
No, I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we got his response right here.
Okay, I don't have anything else for finance.
Okay. Infrastructure.
Autumn, do you have anything?
At our subcommittee meeting, we considered funding options for solar installation on the roof of DEP. There's some federal funding opportunities that I hope that we can look into, and there were also some private grant opportunities that Brian Hill is connecting us with, and he's still working on that. I just heard from him today. So hopefully that can happen. There's also, I don't know this, I'm sorry, this is stepping outside of the bounds maybe of a report from our meeting, but the Green Building Alliance is they're a regional participant in the Renewing America's Nonprofits or something like that, so they can got a big pot of money and are making up to $200,000 available for energy efficiency projects for regional nonprofits. I do think you have to be registered as a 501c3, so I did send it to the REC and the Mark Foundation. I don't know if there are any other C3 registered entities that own and operate their building under the city.
No.
Okay. Is Friends a registered
They are.
C3?
Yeah.
Yes. They don't own a building.
Maybe it's workable. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but that is an opportunity for other area nonprofits. Again, it's up to $200,000 in energy efficiency improvements, including like replacing a roof with insulation, HVAC improvements and things like that. Unfortunately, we are not a 501c3. Okay. And interest needs to be submitted by the 15th of July. So folks can reach out if they're interested. Go ahead, Jim. Anything?
Well, I went on a fact-finding tour this morning for the Public Works building, and actually the whole complex. They took me around to all the buildings. And I just wanted to be familiar with some things because we're going to be discussing retaining somebody to do a study for us. It was interesting. Charlie Anderson was very helpful. I did verify a couple things. The pitch on the roof is only about 1 out of 20, which means it probably won't hold a lot of load. And in fact, when there's about 1.5 feet of snow on the building, the building actually flexes. He showed me an I-beam that is this far off the ground, and it actually flexes and touches the ground. So I don't know how much we could put on it, but hopefully, if we're doing a study, we can investigate whether we could at least insulate more of the building, or if you had to change the pitch or whatever. I just want to make sure that if we're going to consider anything, that those items are included in the study. Because they have to keep the building in the 60s because they have diesel equipment, which will gel up in the wintertime if you don't. A lot of us have had diesels, we know that.
Yeah.
So I would just hate to see us heating heaven when we can keep a little bit more of the heat and our money elsewhere. So that would be my contribution to infrastructure report.
Great. Another thing I'm remembering now is that we were informed that PennDOT is starting paving of Park Avenue. And since we didn't have media, it's probably important to share. So that starts this week. That's why there are no parking by order of police signs up and down the road, and the meters are bagged. So PennDOT starts that this week. Today, they begin today.
They began today. Mill and pave portion of it should last throughout this week and into next. That should be the biggest interruption that folks see at that point. PennDOT is scheduled to complete work all the way up until September 15th. The vast majority of that 2 months, though, is going to be stormwater work, where there should be intermediate interruptions in traffic flow.
From
And that
where
might
to
mean-
where? I'm sorry. Like,
Well,
like
and
just
you
to
said that's the
mention
city doing that, or,
The city's contributing 200,000 as
and
part
that's
of
just
that.
done, the curb is done in increments.
Correct.
And that's why that's less,
Correct, yep, from Linden to Baldwin.
that. Just,
Yep, I think it's 42 or so catch basins.
Were you able to outreach to Trinity about that? Just curious.
I
Okay.
have not been able to secure a willing parking partner, so.
Okay, I was just
Sorry,
curious.
neighbors on Park Avenue.
Yeah.
Keep trying, I guess, but,
And you and I have one more thing.
go ahead. Let's
Actually,
volley this, Jim, go ahead.
2 or 3. We talked a little bit about last week, and as far as I know, we are proceeding to investigate having handicap access doors installed.
Yes.
We discussed, but haven't really gone very far with the acoustics in here and the fact that hearing impaired people have a difficult time listening to our conversations. So they're works in progress. We don't know how they'll end up or when, but they are works in progress.
And the other council priority for the year, the parking garage continues to be,
July 7th.
so yeah, so July 7th is when we'll get the proposals for conditions assessment, conditions
Correct.
report. Just the cost of doing that, and then we can decide if we actually want to spend the money, have someone tell us how bad it is
Correct.
and how very little time we have. Okay. I think that sums it up, Jim.
we're good to go?
I think we're good.
Okay. Old business, ordinance, third and final reading, and mobilization of vehicles.
An ordinance of the City of Meadville, Crawford County, Pennsylvania to permit the immobilization of vehicles booting located on public property as penalty for unsettled parking violations, defining certain terms used herein, providing for authorization, fees, booting process, notification of booting process, time limitations, complaint process, and penalties, providing for an effective date, severability, and a repealer.
I would so move.
Second?
Discussion?
No changes since the June 21st council meeting.
Just want to thank Lindy for coming.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
That was helpful.
Roll call.
McKnight,
Aye.
Myers,
Aye.
Roha,
Aye.
Vogel,
Aye.
Kinder.
No. Resolution ratify signatures, 2023 Summer Parks Program Agreement, City of Meadville and the Meadville YMCA.
Resolution of the Council of the City of Meadville ratifying signatures on the 2023 Summer Parks Program Agreement between the City of Meadville and Meadville YMCA.
All right, can I have a motion to ratify?
Motion?
Second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
This is a ratification because, as council's aware, the parks program is already underway with the YMCA and creating landscapes. The YMCA had come back with some requested changes, specifically revolving around what their staffing is permitting them to do this summer. So we have gone through and made those requested changes to the best of the city's abilities. The YMCA has signed off verbally on the agreement before you.
So, sorry, what are the implications, like, what does that actually amount to in the changes?
They mostly revolve around the responsibilities of the YMCA and their staffing. There was language in there that staff had to be high school age. They don't have that capability this summer. There's also some more stipulations around the clearances. We've kept the general rule about clearances in there and taken out things that didn't apply to how the YMCA is currently operating. And the other part of this was how the city notifies if there's an attendant that has been reported to cause problems. Instead of the city taking any action, we've put the responsibility on the YMCA in this to take any kind of corrective actions and follow their disciplinary procedures.
Does anybody have any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Roll call?
McKnight,
Aye.
Myers,
Aye.
Roha,
Aye.
Vogel,
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye. New business discussion, motion, letters to legislators. Motion for finance committee to send letters.
Motion?
I'll second.
Discussion.
This was a talking point at the subcommittee meetings. It was decided that it would be best for all of council to vote to send these letters out to representatives. This revolves around the LST, the local service tax, requesting their support in raising that, especially for third-class cities. Jim prepared these letters.
Made minor changes, including making the date current. Other than that, they're the same as what you already had.
Does anybody have any questions?
No questions. Appreciate you putting them together, Jim.
Yeah.
Ask that our representatives consider them and consider the requests that we're making to be able to provide for the citizens of Meadville and maintain our quality of services here.
Roll call.
McKnight,
Aye.
Myers,
Aye.
Rojo,
Aye.
Vogel,
Hi.
Kinder.
Aye. Discussion motion, Public Works Garage Condition Assessment Proposal. Motion to move forward with the proposal?
Motion?
Second.
Do we pick an option? There are two options in here.
So there are two options listed. This is a proposal from Burgess and Nyepel out of Erie. They are engineers. So there's two options listed. After staff's review of those options, staff suggests the less expensive option, option one, of the amount of $23,100 if council were to move forward with the conditions assessment. Really the only difference between option one and option two is that option two, the more expensive $49,900 option, included an evaluation of the current utilities and their status. At this point, the structural integrity of the garage is more of a concern rather than the utilities. So staff feels as though the less expensive overview option would be a sufficient route.
Again, I'm just gonna ask this question. This happens before we do anything with any building. We always do an assessment, right? Like,
That is best practice, yes.
I hate spending the $23,000 to tell us if we should tear it down, or I feel like we could just be like, let's just build it and put the $23,000 towards the building. Let's ask the guys,
That
let's
would
ask
make
people
me
we
hate the
know.
building.
No, I mean, like, let's,
I know.
you know what I mean, like, that's.
I know.
But I just,
Go around, right?
right, like this, it just
Yeah.
blows my mind that we're spending
Yeah.
so much money on,
I,
but you know what I mean.
If council were to move forward, let's say that it was an obvious option to demolish and rebuild, then that's probably a very valid point. We don't know, however, to what extent rehabilitation
Sure.
would cost. And that's what hopefully,
So we're hoping that rehabilitation
would
is
be-
gonna be like $100,000 less than.
oh, I hope it's more than
A lot
$100,000.
Right, like a lot less than rehab, okay,
Yeah.
all right, I'm just, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
I just hate that spending this money.
what
No,
I'm hoping to get out of it is to have a well-educated estimate of the remaining economic life as is versus remaining economic life moving forward. Looking at it, it looks like it was built in the late 60s or early 70s, because it's like a pole building, like a Morton building, that kind of thing.
71, 72.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So I also want to make sure that they are well aware that the buildings are in a floodplain. Because otherwise you have a problem with grading. If you rebuild, you have a problem with grading.
Right.
And if you do too much work on it, you have to retrofit some other things. And we don't want to be in that trap. Will that be included, or can we make sure that they understand that?
It should be included, but we'll make sure that they're
Okay.
understanding of that.
While we're doing this, my hope for this would be that by the end, we have something that makes it a lot easier for us to put together a grant, community facilities, which I've talked about before, or something like that, where we could apply to DCED or, something else for funding to help us, fix a necessary public building. And so it's a lot easier to put together a scope of work and a budget for that when we know what that work actually is.
And I'm not certain, and I'm certainly an expert in this, I'm not certain whether the pitch on that roof would be sufficient. The orientation is east and west, but I'm not sure that the pitch would be sufficient to support photoelectric arrays in the future. I don't know
Solar,
if you.
you don't know if it could have solar panels on the roof. You're saying not sure if it could have solar panels on.
I'm not sure
on-
that it would have the strength.
Sure.
Because usually the lower the pitch,
Mhm.
the less material that
It
you
can
have
withstand.
holding it up.
Got it. Something to think about. I think you also told the infrastructure subcommittee that the funding for this would come out of the public works budget.
Correct.
And that's, okay.
Yep.
I just, it just like, I have to wrap my head around it, and I do apologize. I believe that these people are worth, right? Like, when it's just one of those things. I'm not questioning their worth. Believe that. Thank you for humoring me. And that,
Sorry, do we, logistically, do we have to amend a motion for
Well-
specifying option one?
Who made the motion?
ask for a motion. Who,
Larry?
Larry.
And Larry, do you amend your motion for
Yes,
option one?
yes.
The cheaper one?
Jim, you seconded? Did
I think
you
Gretchen said.
Gretchen seconded?
Yeah, it was a
I'll
tie.
give it to Gretchen.
Right.
That's right.
I'll use
Give
it.
it to Gretchen, that should be a
And you agree to,
I agree with
the
that.
motion was for option one?
Yes.
Okay.
We should be a good share. So just make sure the motion's amended and note that it's option one.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? No. Roll call.
McKnight,
Aye.
Myers,
Aye.
Roha,
Aye.
Vogel, Kinder.
Aye. Do you have something else?
I do, maybe. I have a request from the EAC. Where does that go?
Do you want to do
Amend
that?
the agenda.
What?
Amend the agenda. to add-
Okay. I move to amend the agenda to add a request from the Environmental Advisory Committee's commercial, Commercial Energy Efficiency Subcommittee.
What's the request?
The request, they, per their bylaws, they need to come before council before they do any kind of public education program, and they want to launch a Meadville Climate Action partnership pledge. So they want to launch a pledge program where regional organizations or businesses would pledge their support. No monetary contributions anywhere or anything like that.
Would they want it on the city's website, how, logistically, how do they?
They did not ask for that specifically. I think they want to do some public outreach. They're proposing that the partnership program consists of an overall name, motto, pledge, and process/support program. Subcommittee has deliberated these items over the last few meetings, came up with the following recommendations. 1, name, Meadville Climate Action Partnership. 2, motto, working together for a climate safe community. 3, and they outlined a pledge. So they're not asking right now that it go on the city's website or anything, they're just asking that they be allowed to
Explore.
further develop it per their bylaws or whatever it is that is their governing documents and say they have to get our permission.
I support that.
So that's my motion, I guess.
So, okay, so
That's it.
the motion is to amend the agenda to add the consideration of an approval of the EAC subcommittee's request to move forward with the Climate Action Committee's pledge project.
Meadville Climate Action Partnership Pledge.
Meadville Climate Action Partnership
Pledge.
Pledge.
Correct.
program.
That is my, so moved.
I'll second that.
All right, so discussion?
Roll call the motion.
Roll call to amend, okay.
McKnight,
Right.
Myers,
Aye.
Rolla,
Aye.
Vogel,
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye.
All right, so now it's on the agenda and it's an action item for consideration.
Okay, so then.
Tell us some more.
Can I have a motion to? Approve the Climate Action Partnerships Education Program?
It's a mouthful.
Can I have a motion?
Motion.
I second. Discussion.
Great, so as the liaison to the EAC, they asked that I send this along to council because they need to get council's blessing before moving forward on kind of public-facing projects. In particular, this is the EAC's Commercial Energy Efficiency Subcommittee, which consists of Peggy Mogish, Jenny Tompkins, and Guy McCumber. This subcommittee has been considering developing a climate action plan partnership approach for city organizations, with a basic first step being to develop an energy efficiency program. Efficiency effort will help organizations better understand energy use and hopefully plan for clean energy development. They're proposing the partnership program consists of an overall name, motto, pledge, and process/support program. The subcommittee has deliberated these items at the last few meetings and came up with the following recommendations. Again, as I shared, the name, Meadville Climate Action Partnership, the motto, working together for a climate-safe community, and the pledge as follows. Do you want me to read the pledge to you
Yeah.
all in its entirety here?
Is it, well,
I forwarded you this email right now. Do you want me to? Please?
I mean, is it super long?
yeah. No, there's 6.
Oh, there's 6. Yes, please. Plus 3. Okay. Pledge. Our organization believes, 1, climate change is the greatest threat to ensuring the sustainability of this planet for future generations. 2, action is especially important because the most vulnerable to climate change impacts are those with the least and already greatly challenged. 3, addressing climate change must be done in a comprehensive manner, for carbon emissions are generated from a variety of sources. 4, actions must be taken quickly, given the dire forecast if atmospheric temperatures are not controlled very soon. 5, work can be taken at all levels, from global to local, for everyone has a stake and everyone can take part. 6, the Meadville Climate Action Plan, or CAP, is an excellent roadmap in how to take climate action locally. Our organization, as a Meadville Climate Action Partner, therefore pledges, 1, to attempt to implement as many of the Meadville CAP recommendations as possible. 2, to share any knowledge gained from our climate actions with others to help support overall Meadville CAP implementation. 3, to collaborate with other city organizations when necessary to help achieve greater CAP reach and goal fulfillment. That ends the pledge. They're suggesting a logo be developed that folks, that plays off of the city tree, that folks can, who have signed the pledge. Again, it's not a binding pledge and there's no like monetary anything, but folks can display, mainly just to be a kind of visual representation of support for the climate action plan. I'm working to find them someone who will volunteer their time so that there's no cost there. And yes, they're hoping for the kind of blessing of council to move forward in further developing this pledge program.
Thanks for reading.
You're welcome. Sorry, appreciate it.
Any questions? Roll call?
McKnight,
Aye.
Myers,
Aye.
Roma,
Aye.
Vogel,
Aye.
Kinder.
Aye. Public comment on non-agenda items?
None. The only other thing I wanted to add that I neglected to add in my manager's report is that on the 14th, next week, the Erie Philharmonic will be playing a free concert in the Diamond. So that will be on the 14th at 7 p.m.
Right on. It's a beautiful thing.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Other bonus manager report item. The trauma-informed trainings have started and there's 2 more coming up, right?
Yes.
Okay. council member statements. Jim?
Thank you. A little bit long, but I'll get through it for you. Okay, costs money to run the city. And as we all know, a lot of that money comes from levying property taxes. So, property owners need to be paying their fair share of tax, but I want to emphasize fair share. Because there's a fact. The last time our county performed a true real estate assessment, most of the people in this room hadn't been born yet. Or to put it another way, I still needed a comb for my nice brown hair. Okay. So this is an issue because property values appreciate at different rates in different market areas. And it's possible, in fact, it's highly probable that a number of properties are paying more than their fair share of taxes. And that's due to just being overassessed. Now, absent a county-wide reassessment, the remedy is for an individual to mount a tax appeal with the county. And this needs to be done during the month of July. If you need to appeal, or do you need to appeal your tax? Well, I'm going to give you an example, and this might help you. Take a look at your city and county, not your school tax bill, your city and county tax bill. And you're going to find a total assessed value for your property. Now I'm going to use an example of a home that's assessed at $28,560. As of July 1st, the common level multiplier for Crawford County is 5.24. So multiply the 28,560 by 5.24, and you have $149,600 and change. Okay. Now that's not necessarily the market value of your property, but is the time-adjusted base on which your assessment would be made. Okay. So in this case, if the owner of that property said, hey, it's worth $200,000, he's fat and happy, he sits home, doesn't say a word. On the other hand, if it's a $105,000 value, he'd sell it tomorrow for $105,000, he's going to want to appeal the tax. Mike, I actually have an extra copy of this if you ever want any of this stuff. And you might be well served to mount a tax appeal. In the city limits, let's put it this way, if you reduce your assessed value, not your market value, by $10,000, you would save about $920 a year in taxes on your combined taxes. This year, well, no, actually, next year. It wouldn't kick in until next year. You have to do this during the month of July. You have to take the steps. And before you have an appeal hearing, you're going to need to contact a non-retired appraiser. Thus endeth the lesson for today.
Thank you, Jim. Gretchen.
I guess I would kind of tack on with Jim a little bit about, thank you for writing the letters regarding the LST tax. And we did hear back from one representative. I think what is a little frustrating, it's not just Meadville, this is a problem for third-class cities. And it's actually the recommendation of our own Council of Governments in the county to update the LST tax because it's so far out of date. And I would hope that we would really listen and not say what city council is thinking, but actually listen to what we're saying. And that would be a plea to our representatives. I doubt that you're watching this, but I guess I would just say, really listen to, it's good, that we really listen to each other. It's a really good start. So that, I would finish with, let's just really listen to each other. And that's it.
Larry?
Yeah, I echo both their concerns about this. It's something that I hope that the legislature definitely listens to and just doesn't give us a face value answer, that they actually show that they're taking interest and realize these are the people that put them in office. So come election time, what are you going to do? What can you show that you've done for them lately? That's my concern.
A few things. Last Monday, Jamie and I met with many downtown business owners in response to some concerns around parking and specifically parking fees in the city of Meadville. I think there were 20+ business owners that showed up. And I'm gonna say it here so that I can be corrected if I'm wrong in what I'm communicating, but I just wanna reiterate, I think Mike's article captured it too, but parking in the city of Meadville is 25 cents an hour. We are hopefully rolling out the QR code that will go on our existing meters. People can still use quarters and they can scan later this month, hopefully, if all goes according to plan. Thankfully, folks from the business alliance are willing to help us get the word out about the app and get people using it, which is great and appreciated. And hopefully that might alleviate some of the issues if people are experiencing around parking, and always have. But any adjustment to the cost of parking, metered parking in town comes before council, right, and is put to a vote before, by council, and we obviously have to vote in favor of that. So there is lots of opportunity for folks to come to a meeting, express, their thoughts, and send us communications. Our emails are all on the city website, and speak during the public comment period. So there's lots of opportunity. It's certainly not a done deal, and I want folks to know that. I appreciate the folks who came out to that meeting and expressed their concerns. And I recognize too that, right, like a lot of what people are speaking to is the fear of a threat to business. And I guess I just kind of want to underscore that, like, I want us to also think about ways that we can address your margins and maybe help them be not so precarious, right? That you can, like, I want people to be able to, like, run a business here that can support their families adequately, and parking isn't concerned. But anyway, that's another thing. Thanks to folks who came, and to the folks who couldn't. Hopefully you're watching and now. And that's right?
Correct.
Any change to parking fees would come before council for a vote.
Correct.
Okay, great. Not lying. Other things. It was amazing this weekend. We celebrated the International Day of Cooperation at the move-in at the Common Roots House. Launched the renting cooperative in town, which is changing kind of options for renters in the city. I think it's going to be really important for housing conditions and affordability of rents, and I'm just really grateful to all the folks. There were like several weeks where many volunteer hands were on deck full time, just making sure that could happen and that they'd be ready for a July 1st move-in. So just want to congratulate Common Roots on launching a very exciting program that the day prior, June 30th, was featured on a USDA interagency call on housing cooperatives, which was very cool. To hear I didn't even know, I was in Loeffler's and I didn't know they were on the call. I just had it in my phone, and then they introduced Meadville, Pennsylvania, and that was pretty neat. Last thing, man, great lineup. Tomorrow, Thursday, free concert in the Diamond, Friday's First Friday, Saturday's Second Saturday.
Wow.
Whew. Anyway, lots to do. Everyone should go. All right, thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Autumn. I want to thank Jim. That was awesome. Thank you for writing our legislators. Gretchen, to your point, yes, we should all listen, and we should all understand that at the time we're in office, we're here to support the people who live in our area and that have voted for us. So it's very important to put them first, right? It is not our job to point fingers. It's our job to stand up, right, and move forward and do the best that we can for the people who live here. And it is not one or the other. It is not the city or people, right? It is both things that we have to worry about and that we have to work for. So I just hope that each person in office understands that, and that they understand that the focus of Meadville is community, it is people, and it is our city. So I'm just going to leave that there. Thank you, Autumn, for congratulating Common Roots because it makes me smile to think that we are moving forward with creating new solutions to a housing crisis that is nationwide, right? That Meadville is again, setting an example, right? And helping people earn equity in where they live and supporting nonprofits that care about people, that care about equity and where people live and give people dignity where they live. So I think that's a wonderful thing, and I'm so proud to be a part of a city that does that. Also, all the cool things that are happening in town, right? I went to a concert last Thursday. It was awesome. Lots of people because people live here, right? And all of the things that are going on in the city that people are working so hard to do. What I've learned is Meadville loves art. Meadville loves music, man. Every Friday or Saturday you can find live music somewhere in this town. And people go and they are walking and they are being a part of the city. So I am pushing back on anybody who says that there's nothing to do here because, man, there's things to do here every weekend, all the time. And it is a cool place to live. Again, I am proud to be here. I am proud to have raised my babies here. And I am proud to be a part of a council that thinks about my babies, right? And making this place sustainable, making this place a place that people want to come, and making this place a place where people can live with dignity. So with that, I am going to move to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion?
I don't think you should.
Roll call.
McKnight,
Aye.
Myers,
Aye.
Roha,
Aye.
Vogel. Aye. Kinder.
Aye. All right.
I can believe.